We got Brian Kelleher back here on the program. He's going to be taking on Montel Jackson at UFC 230 on November 3rd. Brian, what's going on, man? How are you?
What's up, James? I'm good. It's good to talk again.
Yeah, it's good to talk to you as well. I was going to say it's been a while. It kind of has. I mean, you haven't fought since the Lineker fight. Was the plan to always get on this card, or were you looking to fight a little bit sooner?
I was actually looking to fight a little bit sooner. I would have liked to get on the McGregor Khabib card October 6th. Because since I fought since May, so it's been a little bit of a layoff. But I had a little bit of recovering to do, so it was good to take a little bit of time. But I think October would have been perfect.
I'm glad you brought up recovery because you got the Terphouse products there. I always ask, always trying to ask fighters what their sort of their go-to for recovery is these days. What about you? Coming after a fight like Lineker, what are you sort of using these days for recovery and healing up those bumps and bruises?
Yeah, the CBDs from the Terphouse, they've been so beneficial for me. Not even just for CTE, I know is one thing that it would help, but just everything, anxiety and inflammation and sleep and stuff like that. So it's just been so crucial to use their products. And I use the cream whenever I'm sore and I have like inflammation in my back or my shoulders. I kind of just massage the cream on, and it really does wonders. So I really appreciate those guys.
Not a lot of guys would want to fight John Lineker in the bantamweight division, but you not only fought him, you went toe-to-toe with him, and I know things didn't go your way in that fight, but what do you take away from that performance? Because it was one of those fights where you lost, but I think you actually gained more fans having a fight like that.
Yeah, I think so too. It's always devastating taking a loss like that, especially for me. I've never lost like that in my career, so it was kind of hard to handle and accept because I truly believe in my chin, and I just believe that you almost feel like it can't happen to you, and then it happens, and you're like, whoa, like I got to accept this and get over it. So it took some time to do that, but looking back in retrospect, I think it was a good experience for me to have to deal with a guy like that hits really hard, that has really good pressure. And, there's some things that I took from that fight that I could have done better. And I think a lot of it has to do with the mental game. And, it was a tough fight. And like you said, nobody really wants to fight that guy. I think even now he's having trouble getting a fight. So I think it says a lot that I looked and called out that kind of fighter and went toe-to-toe with him and had some good exchanges, good moments in the fight. And just got to take what I can from it.
How do you feel like you match up against Jackson in this fight?
It's actually a pretty similar opponent. I mean, he's taller. I think he's southpaw also. So it was like, it wasn't too much of a difference for me, which is fine. And being that my brother Mac, who I train with a lot, he's a southpaw. He's taller. He's a bigger guy. So it really worked out for me either way. And I think, I was impressed with Montel Jackson on the show. I thought he showed a lot of composure. He had a really interesting calmness about him in the fight on the show. So I took that from there. Seems like Ricky Simone set the blueprint on how to beat him. I think he can get taken down and out scrambled on the ground as far as jiu-jitsu goes. I think that'd be a smart idea for me.
How about training camp? You talked about training with your brother. We know you do that a lot. Any cross training? I know you've done that in the past, going to other gyms. Was that on the table for this training camp?
Actually, after my last fight, I went over to California, but that was in like later July, and I got some training in with Dillashaw, and I did one of Dwayne Ludwig's classes over there at the training lab. That was cool. I'd like to get back there again, but since I've been home, I've been just, Long Island MMA, 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, and, just working with my striking coach Nabi and trying to mix things up. I think tomorrow I'm going to get some sparring over at Longo's gym. So I'm just trying to get the best work that I can. It's kind of tough. You have to bounce around here on Long Island, but that's just the way it is.
How about the weight cut? How's that going getting down to 35?
Since the last fight too, having such a long layoff, it was hard to keep my weight where I really like to have it. I didn't gain too much. I got up into like the high 150s, but that's not, as crazy as other guys in the game. So for me, it's just about maintaining now. I think I'm in the low 150s now. I try to hang around 150 and then come up, fight week, I show up usually around like 148. So I'm not too far off. Everything's kind of going smooth, which is usual for me. But during the long layoff, I did a lot of strength and conditioning work, which I like to do further away from fight. So I think I put on a little bit of muscle, and that's where the weight came from.
How do you see this fight playing out on November 3rd? Jackson's a tough guy to finish. Are we going to see a finish in this one?
Yeah, he is a really tough guy to finish. I think Simone put it on him. He had a little bit, a lot of pressure. Took him down over and over, tried to get him tired, and he looked like he was trying to get a finish there, but he had trouble doing so. I think Jackson is tough to finish. So I really always want to get a finish. I think, his jiu-jitsu might be one of his weaknesses, and I've been doing a lot of jiu-jitsu over at 10th Planet. those guys have been helping me immensely, and they told me that my game's starting to get better and better as the weeks go on. So, I think I can look for a submission in this fight.
What's next for you after this fight? Are you looking to get in one more fight this year, or are you looking more towards 2019, regardless of the outcome?
It really is about the outcome. If you come out of the fight with no injuries and I get a submission, somewhat of a quick finish, I would look to return as fast as possible. That's just how I am. I'm constantly in the gym. But it seems more realistic to come back maybe January, February. I'd like to fight a top 15 guy and kind of make my way back up to the top, guys in the world. It kind of sucks to fight Barao and then Lineker and then move backwards like this and kind of fight someone who nobody really knows about. But it is what it is. Everybody's tough, and the most important thing is getting a victory and getting a new contract. So that's my goal now. And I wouldn't mind fighting Sugar Sean and taking all his hype and, becoming the next star, since that's who they think is the next star.
Very interesting. Yeah, we'll see what happens with him. And in the meantime, we got to check you out. UFC 230, November 3rd. Brian, always a pleasure, man. Just remind people where they can find you on social media. And if you have any sponsors or shout-outs, the floor is yours.
Yeah, man. Social media, we got Brian Boom 135 on Instagram and Twitter. Brian Kelleher on Facebook. Sponsorships, of course, the Terphouse right here, as you see, helping me throughout my whole training camps. Really appreciate those guys. We got Hummus Fit Meals. They supply me with my meals and my nutrition. And we got MHP as my supplement sponsor. So really appreciate those guys. Also the Float Place for the sensory deprivation. But I appreciate it. Thanks.